It was first day of senior year of high school, and nothing out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? We were just come off a weekend or a summer of partying and doing what I did in that moment. Living like any other high schooler would, and I picked up my brother and my best friend to go to school. So we go to school, and I don't remember much from that day. I remember waking up in the hospital and not knowing where I was and not knowing what was going on, but the whole time knowing something was seriously wrong. I had tubes coming out of my throat, and I was on a big machine, and it was beeping and checking vitals and all this stuff. And at that moment I knew something was wrong because my family was around me and people I didn't know were around me. So I asked the question whether I really wanted to know the answer or not. I said, "Dad, what's going on?" And he said, "Tyler, you were in a car accident. Damon and Zach were in the car, and Damon, my best friend, died on impact." But because I was so injured, because I was so hurt, it was really hard for me to take that on, that burden on and stay awake. So I ended up falling asleep, and I woke up the next day, and I remember asking where my little brother Zach was. And he was in another room, and he was healing as well. And I remember the days they went by slow, but now that I look back, they seem like they went so fast. And every single day I remember I would ask my father, I'd say, "Hey, when is Zach going to be in the room?" And I remember the doctor every single day would reassure me, hey, I think in a week Zach's gonna be in the room with you. Hey, 6 days Zach's gonna be in the room with you. 5, 4, and I know that doesn't sound like much, but when you have nothing in that moment, sometimes it's the little things that you end up counting a lot more. And I remember it was like one more day's left. Like there's only one day left until Zach, my brother, who I've been through everything with, was going to be in the room with me. I remember going to sleep, and I had been healing. I was still on drugs. I was still, working through my own issues, but that was what was pushing me. That was what was keeping me going. I remember going to sleep that night full of anticipation, so excited to see my little brother. So I looked at my dad, knowing what his answer already was. I knew what his answer was. I looked over to him. I said, "Dad, is Zach coming to be in the room with me?" I remember he looks at me, and tears again are filling his eyes, and then he proceeds to tell me that Zach didn't make it throughout the night. It was almost like everything in my life had led up to this moment. Because laying in a hospital bed, nobody around, completely silent, no one coming to visit you after the first 3 days because it's not popular anymore. And it's just me and the ceiling. That's the moment I found out that I had no foundation. It was almost like God removed these friends. God removed this doubt. God removed this busyness, these parties, being here, doing that, being with them. He removed all of this to where then he said, "This is what you're left with. My best friend passing away, my little brother passing away." In this moment, I had nothing. Absolutely nothing. So then fast forward, we, healed, got better. I remember I was over at a friend's house, and I had started going to church through all this. I had pastors visiting me. I started going to church through all this, and it's your typical how someone gets saved moment. And I think God spoke to me and started working with me through the accident, but I didn't really understand what he could give me until I was at a friend's house. Everyone there were believers. We were all hanging out from church, and we were playing this game, Catchphrase. You know, where you click the button, you hand it, and we're all playing, we're having a great time. But I remember looking at like the 5 other people that were in this room. Like maybe 5, 6 other people in this room. And I remember seeing that they legitimately loved each other, that they were happy, that they were joyful, and it was almost like they had no struggles whatsoever. They were just living their life together. And I remember I looked at this guy, his name was Justin. I said, Justin, and I know this is going to sound like weird that someone would ask this, but I just did. I said, Justin, why are you guys so happy? Coming from the class clown of 2011 of my high school, I'm asking somebody now in 2013, 2012, 2013, why are you guys so happy? And I remember he looks at me and he gives me the prototypical answer that like any believer would, but I actually like believed him. He looks at me, he says, I'm saved. Christ died for my sins. Look at the house that we're in. What's not to be happy about? And then he just goes back and starts playing this game again. And I remember it just like blew my mind. It wasn't deep, it wasn't crazy, it just blew my mind that that God can make you joyful. That God can make you happy. So I remember we all, said our goodbyes, whatever. And I go to my room. I know this is going to sound so lame, like I knelt down by my bed. Granted, I had said prayers before this, not many, but I had said prayers before this. I remember I knelt down by my bed. Like you're just like this, and I had my arms like cuffed, and I asked God, here's my exact question. I say, God, if you are what they have, joy, peace, hope, if you're what they have, I want that, and I want you. It hasn't been perfect since. Trust me, it hasn't been perfect since. But that was the first time I realized that God could bring me peace. That I don't have to get affirmation from people around me. I was created, I was made perfectly and wonderfully by God. And so now it's been crazy, it's been a long ride, but I can honestly say through that whole just dealing with losing my brother, losing my best friend, going through all this stuff, God has been able to peel all of this stuff back. And I've been able to grow a foundation of love and hope and peace, all of this that I never had before.